Kentucky Fried Chicken is a fast food restaurant chain that specializes in fried chicken and is headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, United States. It is the world's second largest restaurant chain after McDonald's, with almost 20,000 locations globally in 123 countries and territories as of December 2015. The company is a subsidiary of Yum! Brands, a restaurant company that also owns the Pizza Hut and Taco Bell chains. KFC was founded by Harlan Sanders, an entrepreneur who began selling fried chicken from his roadside restaurant in Corbin, Kentucky. During the Great Depression, Sanders identified the potential of the restaurant franchising concept, and the first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise opened in Utah in 1952. KFC popularized chicken in the fast food industry, diversifying the market by challenging the established dominance of the hamburger. By branding himself as Colonel Sanders, Harlan became a prominent figure of American cultural history, and his image remains widely used in KFC advertising. However, the company's rapid expansion overwhelmed the aging Sanders, and in 1964, he sold it to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown, Jr., and Jack C. Massey. KFC was one of the first fast food chains to expand internationally, opening outlets in Canada, the United Kingdom, Mexico, and Jamaica by the mid-1960s. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, KFC experienced mixed fortunes domestically, as it went through a series of changes in corporate ownership with little or no experience in the restaurant business. In the early 1970s, KFC was sold to the spirits distributor Hubline, who were taken over by the R.J. Reynolds Food and Tobacco conglomerate, who sold the chain to PepsiCo. The chain continued to expand overseas, however, and in 1987 KFC became the first Western restaurant chain to open in China. The chain has since expanded rapidly in China, which is now the company's single largest market. PepsiCo spun off its restaurants division as Tricon Global Restaurants, which later changed its name to Yum! Brands. KFC's original product is pressure fried chicken pieces, seasoned with Sanders' recipe of 11 herbs and spices. The constituents of the recipe represent a notable trade secret. Larger portions of fried chicken are served in a cardboard bucket, which has become a well-known feature of the chain since it was first introduced by franchisee Pete Harmon in 1957. Since the early 1990s, KFC has expanded its menu to offer other chicken products such as chicken fillet burgers and wraps, as well as salads and side dishes, such as French fries and coleslaw, desserts, and soft drinks, the latter often supplied by PepsiCo. KFC is known for its former and current slogan, "Finger Lickin' Good," which was replaced by "Nobody Does Chicken Like KFC" and "So Good." In the interim history, Harlan Sanders was born in 1890 and raised on a farm outside Henryville, Indiana. When Sanders was 5 years old, his father died, forcing his mother to work at a canning plant. This left Sanders, as the eldest son, to care for his two younger siblings. After he reached 7 years of age, his mother taught him how to cook. After leaving the family home at the age of 13, Sanders passed through several professions, with mixed success. In 1930, he took over a Shell filling station on U.S. Route 25 just outside North Corbin, Kentucky, a small town on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains. It was here that he first served to travelers the recipes that he had learned as a child, fried chicken and other dishes such as steaks and country ham. After 4 years of serving from his own dining room table, Sanders purchased the larger filling station on the other side of the road and expanded to 6 tables. By 1936, this had proven successful enough for Sanders to be given the honorary title of Kentucky Colonel by Governor Ruby Laffoon. In 1937 he expanded his restaurant to 142 seats, and added a motel he purchased across the street, naming it Sanders Court and Amp Cafe. Sanders was unhappy with the 35 minutes it took to prepare his chicken in an iron frying pan, but he refused to deep fry the chicken, which he believed lowered the quality of the product. If he pre-cooked the chicken in advance of orders, there was sometimes wastage at day's end. In 1939, the first commercial pressure cookers were released onto the market, mostly designed for steaming vegetables. Sanders bought one, and modified it into a pressure fryer, which he then used to fry chicken. The new method reduced production time to be comparable with deep frying, while, in the opinion of Sanders, retaining the quality of pan-fried chicken. In July 1940, Sanders finalized what came to be known as his original recipe of 11 herbs and spices. Although he never publicly revealed the recipe, he admitted to the use of salt and pepper, and claimed that the ingredients stand on everybody's shelf. After being recommissioned as a Kentucky colonel in 1950 by Governor Lawrence Weatherby, Sanders began to dress the part, growing a goatee and wearing a black frock coat, a string tie, and referring to himself as Colonel. His associates went along with the title change, jokingly at first and then in earnest, according to biographer Josh Ozeski. The Sanders Court and Amp Cafe generally served travelers, so when the route planned in 1955 for Interstate 75 bypassed Corbin, Sanders sold his properties and traveled the U.S. to franchise his chicken recipe to restaurant owners. Independent restaurants would pay 4 cents on each chicken as a franchise fee, in exchange for Sanders' secret blend of herbs and spices, and the right to feature his recipe on the menus and use his name and likeness for promotional purposes. In 1952, he had already successfully franchised his recipe to his friend Pete Harmon of South Salt Lake, Utah, the operator of one of the city's largest restaurants. Don Anderson, a sign painter hired by Harmon, coined the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. To Harmon, the addition of KFC was a way of differentiating his restaurant from competitors. A product from Kentucky was exotic, and evoked imagery of Southern hospitality. Harmon trademarked the phrase, "It's finger-lickin' good," which eventually became the company-wide slogan. He also introduced the bucket meal in 1957. Serving the signature meal in a paper bucket was to become an iconic feature of the company. By 1963 there were 600 KFC restaurants, making the company the largest fast food operation in the United States. KFC popularized chicken in the fast food industry, diversifying the market by challenging the established dominance of the hamburger. In 1964, Sanders sold the company to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown Jr. and Jack C. Massey for $2 million. The contract included a lifetime salary for Sanders and the agreement that he would be the company's quality controller and trademark. The chain had reached 3,000 outlets in 48 different countries by 1970. In July 1971, Brown sold the company to the Connecticut-based Tube Line, a packaged food and drinks corporation, for $285 million. Sanders died in 1980, his promotional work making him a prominent figure in American cultural history. By the time of his death, there were an estimated 6,000 KFC outlets in 48 different countries worldwide, with $2 billion of sales annually. In 1982, Tube Line was acquired by R.J. Reynolds, the tobacco giant. In July 1986, Reynolds sold KFC to PepsiCo for $850 million. PepsiCo made the chain a part of its restaurants division alongside Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. The Chinese market was entered in November 1987, with an outlet in Beijing. In 1991, the KFC name was officially adopted, although it was already widely known by that initialism. Carl Craig, president of KFC US, admitted the change was an attempt to distance the chain from the unhealthy connotations of fried. The early 1990s saw a number of successful major products launched throughout the chain, including spicy hot wings, popcorn chicken, and internationally, the Zinger, a spicy chicken fillet burger. By 1994, KFC had 5,149 outlets in the US and 9,407 overall, with over 100,000 employees. In August 1997, PepsiCo spun off its restaurants division as a public company valued at $4.5 billion. The new company was named Tricon Global Restaurants, and at the time had 30,000 outlets and annual sales of $10 billion, making it second in the world only to McDonald's. Tricon was renamed Yum! Brands in May 2002. By 2015, the company was struggling, having lost business to other retailers and being surpassed by Chick-fil-A as the leading chicken retailer 3 years previously. To combat this, the company launched a new initiative with a plan to revamp its packaging, decor and uniforms, as well as expanding its menu. Additionally, beginning in May 2015, a new series of advertisements was launched featuring Darrell Hammond as Colonel Sanders.